What's up guys, my name is Stoody and I'd like to welcome you all back to another video, and in today's video I'm going to be doing my tips for round 9 of the 2023 AFL season. Now last week I had a perfect week. I got every single tip correct, 9 out of 9. It was a pretty easy week for tipping. You should have got at least 8 I think, and the people that got 8 most likely tipped Carlton to beat Brisbane, but if you got less than 8 you've had a pretty bad week, to be honest. So I'm now on 54 correct tips for the season, and I've moved up in the world rankings to 1,504. So that's really good. I could be the best tipster in the world at this rate if I keep going. Anyway, let's go on to this week's tips. So on Friday night, we have Richmond VFL taking on Geelong at the MCG. I'm going to be tipping Geelong in this one by 27 points. Mainly because Richmond will be robbed in this game, as they always are against Geelong. Remember last year, Richmond were severely robbed when Tom Sniper dog shot Dion Prestia, which robbed Richmond a goal because they wouldn't stop the match, meaning Geelong had an extra player on the field and they kicked a goal from it. And how many points did Geelong win that game by? 3. It was bullshit. I actually broke my computer when that happened. Well, I didn't break my computer, I just broke the mouse pad of it. It wasn't even my main computer anyway, it was just a backup. It still works when I use a mouse. But regardless, Richmond have a heap of injuries, so betting Geelong, especially with match fixing, is just going to be a tough task. Now, to the person who runs the Richmond Journey page, to try and tell us not to boo Tom Sniper is really pathetic. He deserves every single bit of it after what he did to Dion Prestia. Not only that, he went on to win a premiership later on that year, which is bullshit. He does not deserve a premiership. So it's honestly quite disgusting that you're trying to get us to not boo Tom Sniper when he 100% deserves to be booed. And I hope Richmond supporters that are at the game absolutely boo him out of the building. What the fuck? There's another Friday night game. We have West Coast taking on Gold Coast at Optus Stadium, where no one's going to be watching this. So I'm going to be between Gold Coast in this one by 21 points. They're in some pretty good form. I think they've won like 3 of their last 4, something like that. And they almost beat Melbourne last week. So that's pretty impressive. So I think you got to go with the Suns. And the Eagles look really ordinary. You know, only match fixing stopped them from getting absolutely destroyed against Richmond. So you'd have to tip Gold Coast. Plus, another thing, why are we having 2 Friday night games and only 2 Sunday games? It's bullshit. It really is. Finally, moving on to Saturday afternoon, we have Sydney taking on Fremantle at the SCG. Both teams are in some bad form. Fremantle, I guess, did get a pretty big win against Hawthorn though last week, but it is only Hawthorn. I'm going to tip Sydney in this one by 17 points. Sydney are going to want to get themselves back on the winners list, but I can easily see Fremantle finding some form and causing an upset here. I'm going to tip Sydney because it's a safe option and everyone's tipping Sydney, but we'd be surprised if Fremantle get the upset. The other Saturday afternoon game, we have North Melbourne taking on Port Adelaide at the Blundstone Arena. I'm going to be tipping Port Adelaide in this one by 33 points. Port should be too strong for North, and Port, they are having a pretty good season. They're 6-2, and I think they're flying under the radar quite a bit. Like, they're not really being talked about, although they are 6-2. So they're travelling nicely. So I can't see them losing to North. North just don't really look too good at the moment. So the Power should win this comfortably. But it wouldn't surprise me if North do put up a bit of a fight in Tasmania. Saturday twilight, we have Hawthorn taking on Melbourne at the MCG. Don't really need to go into depth with this one, I don't think. Melbourne, and I'm going to say 76 points. Not much to say. Basically, arguably one of the better teams in the competition, going up against a wooden spoon contender. A bottom 2 side, I think Hawthorn are. So what else is there to say? Just tip Melbourne. Saturday night, we have the Brisbane Lions taking on Essendon at the Gabba. I'm going to be doing Brisbane in this one by 38 points. They're at home. They're in some good form. And Essendon overrated. So I think Brisbane should be able to get a job done against the Bombers. The Bombers have finally got a couple of losses, although they weren't very convincing losses. It looks like they actually were in the game. But hopefully Brisbane can shut their feral supporters up, even though Brisbane supporters are even more feral than Essendon supporters. And make sure Essendon have no confidence for the Dreamtime game, which I think is in round 10 next week. Moving on to this other Saturday night game. Now this is the really difficult one. We have Carlton taking on the Western Bulldogs at Marvel Stadium. Has anyone got a queen? Has anyone got a queen? Just flip it. Anyone can win this one. Are we going? What Carlton are we going to see? What Western Bulldogs are we going to see? Both of them can be very ordinary, but also both of them can be very good. It's a weird one. But here's the thing, I just trust the Western Bulldogs more, so I'm tipping the Western Bulldogs to win this one by 4 points. One of my mottos is don't tip Carlton in a game like this. That's why I didn't tip them last week. I'm not tipping them again this week. The Bulldogs, I'm pretty sure, have won like 4 of their last 5, and Carlton have lost 3 of their last 4, so going on form, the Dogs are clearly in the better form. Although I think that both teams are pretty even, I definitely think Dogs are just a little bit better. Moving on to Sunday, we have the Adelaide Crom taking on St Kilda at the Adelaide Oval. Again, if you've got another coin, let's flip it. But I guess I'm going to tip Adelaide in this one by 1 point, only because it's in Adelaide. I think St Kilda are better than Adelaide, but it's at home. Adelaide are in some decent form. I know they've lost a couple of games, but they only just lost those games, and they were against good teams as well. They're at home, and I think St Kilda at some point will slide. Whenever a clear favourite struggles to beat a lower placed team, they often lose the next week, I feel. So that's why I think the Crows, they have 64% of people at the time recording this tipping them. So I'm just going to go the Crows, but this can go either way. St Kilda can easily win this. Last game of the round, we've got Collingwood taking on GWS at the MCG. This one, again, pretty easy. We're between Collingwood by 48 points. Should be able to account for GWS pretty easily. So nothing else really to say. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe for more content like this. Be sure to hit the thumbs up button and leave a like on this video. Also be sure to join my Discord server. It is called Australian Sports Community. Link to that is in the description. Also be sure to subscribe to my second YouTube channel. It is called Stoody Archives. Link to that is also in the description. Also be sure to follow me on my social media accounts. I have Instagram, I have Twitter, and I also have TikTok. The username for all those is StoodyYT, and links to all of those will also be in the description. I hope you've had a good day, and I'll see you all in the next video.